poll on Instagram, and I asked you guys if you wanted to have some techniques of shooting product, and you guys answered actually pretty damn fast. I'm going to be using a 120D, which is a continuous light, and then I'm also going to be using a QUASAR light, which is basically just a tube. Alright guys, so as you can see right here, I am just using a regular QUASAR science light and a APUTURE 120D. These are only two lights that I kind of really own. I do have a couple others that are coming in, but I'm just kind of waiting for right now. Now you don't have to have either one of these two to get this kind of look. Literally, I can also do this with like a regular fluorescent light if I wanted to. I would do that, but I don't have any on hand right now, so I can't do that. So I have to use my 120D to actually do that. Right here, you can just see that I'm just using a regular black foam board. You can literally get one of these at like a Target, Walmart, AC Moores, Home Depot, anything like that. Those are literally very easy to find. I just have a regular white backdrop, as you can see right there. To hold this all down, I basically just have my gym bag that's just sitting right there. Just to counterweight everything since I don't have a sandbag. But that will be able to hold that actual controller down right there. Other than that, I'm about to take some shots right now, and then we'll jump into Photoshop and I'll show you guys how to do everything. Alright guys, now that we are in Lightroom, we are going to do some changes to this photo right here, as you can see. So these are the photos that I've taken. This is the one that I chose out of all the photos that I did take. So let's get into the editing process. Pretty good. Now I'm going to jump over to the orange. And if you don't know what it's working, as you can see like right there on that knob, that's basically what it's working right now for the orange. It does look yellow, but yellow and orange are in the same exact area of the range, so that's what we're aiming for. So let's play around with this. I like it right there, so we're gonna keep it right there. We're gonna jump down to the yellow. Yellow's gonna give it a little bit more color, so I'm probably gonna stay around that same area. So I'm gonna keep it around the 53. That looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. So that's all I'm gonna touch there. I'm gonna jump over here. I always enable this. Now you see how big of a change that just made. Like, look at this. This is why I don't really go crazy up top, because as soon as you enable the profile corrections, everything changes. And you can kind of see down here what I was shooting at. I was shooting at with a 50mm. So and yes, I was using a Sony camera too. So but that doesn't make any kind of difference. But usually when you click this right here, it enables the actual right corrections for everything. So it does clear up a lot, so you don't have to do a lot. And that's just about it. So after I am finished doing all of that, I usually come back over here and I right click and I go into Photoshop. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna jump into Photoshop right now. Alright, so now we are in Photoshop. So within Photoshop, I usually like to go to duplicate layer first. Then for this, I will want to go over to the pen tool over here. Zoom in a little bit more. Now this is the part where it's going to be a little bit more tedious because you actually have to like pen tool this whole thing. Yeah, you could possibly go over to like the quick selection tool and like just do that, but it's not going to be as sharp as you want it to be. So you see how like down here it's kind of like jagged or whatever. Yeah, you don't really want that, so usually you'll have to use the pen tool to get around these corners. So let me just do this real quick and then we'll be right back. Alright, so guys, after you do that, it is going to take quite a time for you to pretty much pen this all out. Yeah, it is tedious, but if you do it as well as possible, you'll be totally fine. Because this next step is going to kind of like erase all those, you know, blemishes that you possibly made or mistakes. Alright, so next we are going to right click, make selection, and then we're going to do a feather radius of 2 pixels. This will help pretty much get rid of any kind of mistake that you possibly could have made. So we can press OK, and right here I'm going to Command C to copy and then Command V to paste. So now if I take away these backgrounds, you can see right there everything is gone. Crazy, right? Alright, so I'm gonna zoom in a little bit because you can see how like dirty this is and everything, and you can see right in here I miss just a smidge. So I'm gonna pen tool this real quick. I could just mask this out, but I'm not gonna do that, just for purposes only, just to make this as quickly as possible. So right here I'm gonna press OK, and now I'm gonna just delete. And so you can see right there that is totally gone now. Alright, so after I usually do anything like that, usually like I clean all of this stuff up. So for you to clean everything up, I'm not going to clean it up crazy right now because there's no point in me cleaning this up crazy. It's just to show you guys exactly how to do some product photography and simple like cleaning up textures. So usually what I do is I come over here to the spot healing tool and then the healing brush tool, and I play around with these two just to see exactly what works. So say if I came over here, as you can see right there, that didn't work because you usually will have to option click and it will basically sample whatever's over here, and then you can basically just clear it like that. So if I just tabbed it right there, you can see how that basically left like a little mark there. So if I just try to clean this up, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I did a quick cleanup to it.
It looks way better than what it looked like before. That is definitely for sure. I didn't go really crazy, but you can kind of see basically what it looked like before and what it looks like now. What I usually do is I usually do make a duplicate just so you can see it, but for purposes of the video, I'm just trying to do it as quickly as possible so I don't bore you guys. Alright, so usually after I do that, usually back on up, I look at everything, and then I just come over here, file, new. I know this kind of sounds crazy, but then I usually if I'm doing it like Instagram or something, I usually want to do it within like the actual Instagram size. I know that I brought it in Lightroom, and I should have did that before, but sometimes I just like working with those bigger pixels first and then throw it in like a smaller file. So right here we are gonna do 1200 by 1500 because that is the Instagram size. I'm gonna use the resolution of 300 only because even though that is print, I never know if I might want to use this later on down the road and print it, so I'm always going to do a resolution of 300. Usually you want to do a 72, but right here I'm going to do 300. Alright, so here we go. Alright, so right here I am going to drag this, and then I'm going to drag it over, place it in. Now I'm going to size it down. Alright, so then after I do that, you can see how like the whole resolution, it's a lot more sharper just because I did it from a bigger file and brought it into a smaller one. Now I'm just going to actually rotate this a little bit just so it's straight. There we go. So that looks great. Alright, so next I usually make folders just in case. So I'm just going to put this in a folder. And just put an abbreviation for controller. And just leave it like that. Alright. So next I usually like to make a background. So here we go. I'm going to use the eyedropper tool. So you just press I for that. I'm going to select this yellow color because I like that color. And then I'm just going to drop it in the background just like that. I'm going to also name this folder background just so then I know this is actually the background. Alright, so now I'm going to drag the background folder underneath my controller folder, and you can kind of see like exactly what that does right there. So yeah, this doesn't look great right now, but what I do next is gonna like change it a lot. So usually after I do that, I'm gonna make one more folder. I'm gonna name this one shadow. Alright, so to make a shadow, I usually just come over here. I'll grab one of the ellipse tools, and I'm gonna make it a little. I'm going to change this color also. I'm going to change this to black. Alright. So I'm going to change that to black right there so you can kind of see like exactly what that's doing. But just watch this. We're going to come over here. We're going to come to view. Well, actually not view. We're going to come to filter. And then we're going to go to Gaussian blur. We're going to convert this into a smart object. We're just going to bring this up into our liking. Let's see. So I kind of like it right there around 50. We'll keep it around 50. Let's actually play around with this real quick. We might do like an overlay. I think an overlay will look nice on this. Actually, we're gonna do a soft light. Do a soft light, and that kind of allows us to play around with this Gaussian blur a little bit more again. And keep it right there. Alright, so now we're gonna actually duplicate this ellipse tool. I'm gonna transform it, so Command T. And bring it down a little bit, just so we can give it a little darkness in the middle. I'm gonna actually shift and pull up a little bit. And you can kind of see how it got a little bit dark right there in the middle. Alright, so then after I do that, I usually will also make another folder. This is also going to be a continuous of the background, so I'm just going to call this background. So this is just to give it a little pop. So I'm going to go back over here to the ellipse tool again. I'm just going to make a big circle. You're going to see what this does. I'm going to go up top where the fill is, and I'm going to actually make that fill white. As soon as I make the fill white, put it right there. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. You don't really, actually, no. Make it just about like right there, actually. You can keep it right there. So what we're going to do is go right back up. And we're going to do exactly the same thing. So filter, Gaussian blur, convert to smart object. And I'm going to actually boost this up like very high. So let's see where we land at. Okay, so I like it like right there actually. So I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to take this background and I'm actually going to bring it underneath the other background. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's bring this inside this background. And you see what happened right there. So you see how that just popped right there. Yeah, it's crazy, right? It just popped. Alright, so usually after I do that, what I want to do next is to go in my background folder. So as you can see, this is where everything is, blah blah blah. This is where the controller is, right here. Alright, so I'm actually going to go into my continuous folder where all my controller is, and I'm going to go over to my left, and I'm going to go to my burn tool. So the burn tool is basically going to give you a little bit more dimension within like the photo itself. It's going to help it pop a lot more. So there we go, start burning on the sides. What I'm doing is I'm doing on the spots that look like they're pretty light to give it more dimension. Now you don't need to go crazy either, and if you do, you can always use the dodge tool to take everything away, but you don't really need to go like that crazy. I'm going to burn these a little bit, just so it kind of makes these a little bit darker inside of there. Burn a little bit right there, and burn again right here. So you can kind of see like how dark that kind of gets when I do that. So I'm not trying to go like really all crazy. Now you can also change this up top if you really wanted to, like the midtones and shadows. I usually keep it in the midtones. Probably just burn the top up here, just like that. Burn a little bit up there. There we go. And I already did underneath here, under here. Do a little right there, then here, just so then I can get that shine a little bit going. Yeah, there we go. Keep it a little bit. Burn it underneath right there. There we go. All right. So you can kind of see how much better that looks right there. Like, look at that. Look how much that pops. That's crazy. Okay. So normally after I do this, I just want to throw, say, if I wanted to throw in the text, because you're pretty much just about done right now. So here we go. We're going to throw in the text right now. So I'm going to actually make a text layer. Let's put this in actually in a folder. I usually do everything in a folder. It just makes a lot of things easier for me. So text. And I'm gonna come over here. And I'm also gonna leave the file for the actual text inside of the description, just so you guys can also use that whenever you want. So we're gonna do what should we do? We probably should do like the Nintendo stuff. So let's do the Nintendo. I'm gonna make that a little bit bigger. Let's see, we'll keep it like right there. So just like Nintendo right there. And then an option and drag down. And this is all going to be in the same font. I'm going to caps lock and do GameCube. And this one I'm going to actually make a lot smaller. So let's bring this down a little bit just so I can get the others. And let's go like 14. Then bring it up. Okay, cool. Right there. And that seems pretty good. Alright. So you can already see how much that is like working in our favor. So I'm just going to change this to white real quick. Alright, cool. I'm going to bring this down just a smidge. I'm going to come in. Boom, boom. Size this just so I can kind of match the edges. Bang. Look at that. Beautiful. Bringing this down just a smidge. Bring it over just so then it's lined in the middle. Shoosh. Alright. So now that I have done that, I want to just add something little, not much. So right now we're basically just about done. I'm doing something very simple. We're not doing anything really crazy, just something so you guys can understand how to do a little bit of product photography. Alright, so I think now I'm going to actually add some stars. So I'm going to go over to my Illustrator box because it's a lot easier for me to go into Illustrator and just bring things in. So I'm going to go over to Illustrator. This is just something that I've been working on right here. Print. I'm just gonna go into any kind of pixels. I'm gonna just put anything in because it doesn't really matter because you're gonna be dragging stuff in. I'm gonna go over here to the star tool and just make a star. I'm gonna keep the star white. I'm gonna Command C and then I'm gonna go right back into Photoshop. Alright, so now I'm back in Photoshop. I'm going to Command V, and then I'm going to keep it in the pixels. You can change it to smart objects, but I like keeping it in pixels so then it stays very sharp. Oh, that's what I forgot right there. Let's go back into Illustrator. Got to take off the stroke. Alright, so now go back into it. Command C. Then go back into Photoshop. We're going to Command V. Alright, better. Alright, so now I'm just going to bring this down. And now I'm just going to place these stars around. So let's do this. Alright, so now that we've done you can place it any kind of way. I just kind of threw them anywhere. I like to give these small stars just like a very small blur. So we're going to go to filter, blur. Sometimes I do a motion blur, really depends like what you're feeling. So let's just try out motion blur real quick. You can kind of see like what it does right there. It kind of looks like a shooting star. I'm gonna bring it down just so that it's kind of, this makes it seem like the photo is moving a little bit. So I'm gonna do that to all the small ones. Now you can just use a Gaussian blur if you wanted to, but that is really up to you. It's all preference at this point. So I'm just gonna do some of these other ones, and then I like to keep the bigger ones just regular like that. So right there, guys, that's basically how you do a lot of product photography. There's really nothing else to it. I can do a lot more, but that is like the basics. If you really want me to kind of go into it more and do a lot more to it, like actually make these into shooting stars, I can definitely make another video. But other than that, that is basically how you do a lot of product photography.
So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and definitely check us out for more that's coming. Catch you.
Bottles in my cup, you just a throw it in the club. I ain't give them nothing cause they never fall in love. I ain't give them nothing cause they never get enough.